Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, my name is Ryan Embry. I am the Director of Marketing here at Travel Media Group. And I want to first thank everyone for taking the time to join me on our first ever virtual roadshow. And this is our second stop, Atlanta, Georgia. We are very excited to share this presentation with you all. Now, at the end of this event, I will be providing my direct contact information in case you have any follow-up questions with the content that I'm going to be sharing today. But you can also use that chat feature, which is located right in your toolbar, to type any sort of questions or feedback. We'll be responding to those personally following the conclusion of today's event. Also, be on the lookout since today's presentation will feature an interactive poll and would absolutely love your participation in it. So let's go ahead and get started and introduce you to who will be driving you on this roadshow today. So again, hello. My name is Ryan Embry, and with me today, I am joined by Allison Alsbrook. Allison, hello. Welcome to the virtual roadshow.
Hello. Thank you for introducing me. Thank you so much. And again, as he mentioned, my name is Allison. I am the Hospitality Solutions Advisor for the Atlanta area, as well as all of Georgia. Really excited to be here today to really dive into this research we've done.
Yeah, absolutely, Allison. And we're going to bring her back on to give a little bit more specific insights and analytics on the data that we're going to be covering today. So let's go ahead and jump into what we'll be covering today in this roadshow. So we're going to look at, really 5 different aspects, and it all starts with what travelers are searching right now when it comes to Georgia travel and specifically the greater Atlanta area. We're going to uncover some really, really cool analytics from Google Ads that we were able to uncover, patterns and trends that hopefully we can use in things like your social media marketing. We're going to look at reputation trends and patterns. So how is your hotel performing in comparison to the market, and where can you gain the upper advantage to hopefully capture some more occupancy and market share. We're going to look about what is actually being said in those reviews. So what sort of guest sentiment, especially the reviews being left in your area, are people saying? That way, again, we can use this on our social media marketing or maybe making operational decisions to improve our guest experience and hopefully raise our reputation scores, right? So we talk about social media, and then we're going to bring Allison back, and she's going to talk again about some market insights and analysis, and maybe even share some stories of her own from speaking to hoteliers in this Georgia area and what's important to them. But it all starts with Google search trends, as I mentioned, and this should be really, really good news for all the hoteliers and hotel groups that are on this virtual roadshow today. The search hotels in Atlanta is searched 110,000 times per month, and that is a 50% year-over-year increase. So we know that pent-up demand, that revenge travel, whatever you want to call it, is back, and we just have to figure out a way to look the most competitive in order to capture that occupancy. One stat that we saw was absolutely amazing: 174% year-over-year growth in search hotels near the Atlanta airport. So typically, this is as we'll see in a second, we might have a lot of road trippers and day trippers come into Atlanta, the Atlanta metro area, but we're also seeing a lot of people travel from outside the state. So this is a different type of traveler, and being able to communicate and message to them through social media marketing and hopefully win their bookings. Hotels in Midtown, this is up a massive 400%. Now, this is year over year, so this could be telling us a couple things. So obviously, we know Midtown, known for a lot of its attractions, downtown area. We know we've got events like Music Midtown coming up in September, but this also could signal to us the return of maybe business travel and conferences coming back. We know that that has almost disappeared from our occupancy and inventory over the last couple of years. So seeing a search like this could be the beginning signs of the business traveler returning. And as we get out of the leisure season and summer season, kids go back to school, these are the trends that we want to be in front of and not react to. So important to note there. Now let's talk about maybe some of the more last minute bookers, right? Events in Atlanta this weekend, that search term is up 83% year over year. So people are searching of what's going on this weekend right now. So they could be coming in from out of town just wanting to do a quick trip in. And if you notice, things to do in Atlanta this weekend has 2 times the amount of search volume as Orlando. So whereas Orlando, you might see families really taking their time to decide on where they're going to stay, what they're going to do, Atlanta travelers might be coming in and just deciding last minute. So what this means is you need relevant, fresh information on review sites, which we're going to talk about in a minute, in order to capture that occupancy. And you also want to give inspiration via your social media channels. Instagram is a great place to put events and things to do in your area, because those are the type of searches that the traveler coming to Atlanta is looking for. And then finally, this was something that we were just interested in. It was a 22% increase year over year, but 3,600 times per month, people are also looking at free things to do in Atlanta. And I would bet that this is only going to increase as we see that hot topic of inflation and we see prices start to jump up. These are the type of trends that hoteliers and marketing managers need to be in front of. So maybe if you were sharing all of these attractions, Coca-Cola Museum, the Atlanta Aquarium, that cost money, maybe you start to shift to giving some more options of some free things to do, so that to capture more people's attention, because they could be looking for that. Okay, so now that we looked at some search terms, let's look at the reputation trends. So Atlanta, we know, is a very, very competitive market, and the first place you can find that is in the reviews itself. So on average, the hotels in Atlanta have a 3.9, almost a 4.0 score. 70% of reviews are positive for the city rank of Atlanta. That means 7 out of every 10 reviews that you're receiving should be either a 4 or 5-star review. So very, very positive and very, very competitive market. And this is just the halfway point. I do want everyone to notice here on the average response rate. So it's actually 60%. And as we look at the more competitive side of the market in the top 25%, we don't see that response rate really jump. So this is a huge, huge opportunity for hotels on this. If you are not responding to each and every one of your reviews, you could be missing out on a big opportunity. And responding, because the top 25 in Atlanta market is only responding to 6 out of every 10. So this is a huge opportunity. We have a review, respond and resolve guest review response solution. We just hit 1 million reviews. We're super excited about, but we make sure that that response rate is 100% because we know how important it is about setting expectation and making sure your guests feel heard. But as we dive a little deeper, that 3.9 on the market average goes all the way up to a 4.3. So if you have aspirations of being in the top 25% of the Atlanta market, that 7 out of 10 reviews that are positive now turn into 8. So one slippage here, we know how much a 1-star review weighs down a hotel's reputation. So we need to continue. You have to have a strategy now. If you're not being proactive with your reputation, you're really falling behind. And I guarantee you, if we quiz these top 25%, all of them would have a step-by-step strategy on what they're doing to try to stay competitive as far as their reputation goes. So let's look into a little bit of where these reviews are being left. Excuse me. So you'll see that 60% of the reviews that are being left in the Atlanta market are between TripAdvisor and Google. So what that tells you is a couple things. First, if you have our reputation management strategy, this is really going to help you out because these are the two sites that we really focus on, TripAdvisor and Google. But two, If you have, let's say, all of a sudden a negative review on Booking, Expedia, any of these other OTAs, the frequency that you're getting these reviews are a lot less than TripAdvisor and Google. So that negative review could really stay up there for a long time and really have a long-term impact on short-term occupancy. So make sure you're checking, and if you see a negative review sitting at the top page or even the first page of your hotel's profile on these sites, you need to do something in order to spur some more relevant and fresh content. All right, so let's talk about when the reviews are left on these sites. How are they looking as far as positive and negative? The most positive place might be a surprise to some, TripAdvisor. 85% of the reviews left on TripAdvisor in Atlanta are positive. So this should tell you if you're not seeing positive reviews on TripAdvisor, you might not be seeing them on these other sites. Something to note here, Google. We saw that was 30% of all reviews. That is the second most negative place according to this chart here. So again, it's a little bit more. It looks a lot tougher to get those positive reviews on Google than TripAdvisor. Might be something that you and your staff can focus on. And again, if you have a reputation strategy like ours, we can really focus those reviews going to Google to help you spur some positive engagement here. Okay, so when we break down, one of the things in our Respond and Resolve solution when we respond to these guest reviews is we actually go in and hand tag certain sentiments. With that, we get a lot of data on the sentiment tags and where they're positive and negative. So what we did is we looked at all of the data for the Atlanta market and picked out the top 3 positive sentiment tags. The first was location. So this is obviously huge when it comes to somewhere where like Atlanta, if people are looking to be in a desirable location, people seem to really, one of the things that we can do to market this on social media is talk about our location, what's near us, what attractions are near us, what's around us, so that our guests have a better sense of the location that they're getting. 2 is breakfast. This one was really surprising because right now we see a pretty big spectrum on where breakfast is in hotel recovery. Some hotels are back to where they were pre-COVID with serving breakfast buffets and are able to staff their breakfast area. Other hotels are still going with the grab-and-go option or just don't have the staff to maintain the breakfast that they once did. So it looks like, at least for the most part in the Atlanta market, hoteliers are doing a great job of setting expectations prior to a guest arrival when it comes to their breakfast. And I'll show you a great example of that as we get into the social media side of things. And then lastly is staff. So we know that this has been a huge, over the past couple of months, we've had huge staffing issues, but it doesn't seem to be impacting the reviews or sentiment towards our staff. So if you're seeing some negative reviews surrounding your staff, you're actually in the minority versus the majority. I'm sorry. So the top 3 negative sentiment tags. First one is odor, right? There's very few times that people will come on property and talk about how everything smells fresh and clean. And sometimes even that cleanliness can be a little too empowering. So that's why we see odor on there on the top negative sentiment. The second is furniture. This could be a great opportunity, especially after the summer season, to make sure we're setting the right expectations on social media. All of our pictures are updated because this is about a 50-50 chance of when furniture is mentioned, whether it's positive or negative. And then the last one is price. So price is very, very difficult right now because right now we are at record high ADRs according to STR data. So we're charging more than we ever have. The guest is seeing that, but they're also expecting to see that with inflation and high prices everywhere. But we walk a very fine line because with that elevated rate, they're having an elevated expectation of your hotel experience. So one tiny little thing being wrong is going to really, really have a negative effect on whether your hotel is worth its value or worth the price. So that's why we're seeing more and more times price being mentioned in a negative way right now than we ever have before. So definitely, again, a trend to watch when it comes to your unique hotel reviews. So how do we take this information and maybe use it to optimize our social strategy? We said one of the top positive sentiments in the Atlanta market was breakfast. 81% of the time, people are loving breakfast. This is a great social post that we created for one of our social hotel partners. It gives a great it gives an excellent idea of what the breakfast would look like, but it also shows enjoy a cook-to-order breakfast from 6 a.m. to 9:30. If you're short on time, grab and go breakfast might be for you. So it has both options there, and it really sets the expectation. So a traveler coming to this property is going to have a really good idea of what to expect for their breakfast, and you can see the engagement and the likes down at the bottom. Travel tips, right? We saw that 141% year over year difference when it comes to hotels near the Atlanta airport. More and more people are traveling via plane. They're feeling more comfortable getting out. They're putting COVID in the back of their minds. They're willing to jump on planes more than they were a year ago. So sharing travel tips, especially for those people coming in out of state, maybe traveling by plane, could be some really, really good and well-engaged content outside of our hotel that could be shared by your audience and help you with likes. Events this weekend. I love this post because it actually talks about this weekend, right? This weekend, check out Candler Park Music Festival. And we have a picture of this and we have some details here. This would be a great post for trying to fill some last minute occupancy and give some great information on the weekend. And then we also did a bonus post here on free things to do. So we're talking about our nature centers, our parks, some things that don't cost as much to really get in front of that trend of people searching free things to do in the area. So this is a great idea of just some sample posts and posts that we've created for some of our social partners, and just really overall market data. But as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to bring Allison back in to kind of talk about what it would take or what this data means for your individual property. Allison, you there?
I am. Thank you so much. And it was a lot of great information. Loved hearing it. I'm sure everybody also enjoyed. And I'm sure, like myself, many of you are probably thinking now, this is all great information for the area that we're in. You know, there's so much that we can do with this, but we're probably wondering, how are we going to now act on this information and utilize it to the fullest potential? And really, that's where we come in here at Travel Media Group. As I mentioned at the beginning of the call, my role as a hospitality solutions advisor, I am meeting with properties, whether they are new ones looking to come on and partner with us or current partnerships that we have. You know, that is my day in and day out of us really just getting together, taking this type of information and saying, how can we use this to the benefit of your property to really maximize your online presence when travelers are looking for you online? One of the great things that Ryan pointed out that I get all the time with not only new partnerships that we bring on, but current is responding to reviews. That's such a great opportunity to be able to really hone in and focus and push active current things going on property and being able to utilize that for your benefit, for the traveler that you're responding to, as well as future travelers deciding whether or not to stay with you. I had just the other week a current partnership where I reached out. We were looking at it. We were updating information as we reach out every single month. We want to make sure if we're responding, it's accurate, it's informative, and it's really benefiting everyone all around. And then even kind of tagging off the social media, you know, Ryan showed a lot of great information of how to use the analytics at the beginning of this to really hone in on your social media presence. Over the past 2 years, we've seen so much unknown in the world. You know, we've all experienced it, we've all shared it, and now that people are traveling, they want to know what they're going to experience. They want to know what they're paying for, and they want to be able to get excited for it. So using that social media, we had a current client, we've had them about a year now. Fantastic. They use the social media, and similar to Atlanta area, they're right outside of it. They may not be in that straight vicinity of walking distance to a lot of the things that people may be looking online. So we get creative. We start going in together saying, let's show ease of accessibility of traveling to these locations. A lot of travelers are also looking at, what can I do like a local? How can I live like a local? And looking at the areas around your property to maximize those experiences as well. That way, ultimately, you have a well-rounded online presence that's going to ultimately drive more guests through your door.
Yeah, absolutely, Allison. And that's the key, is taking this market data that we just uncovered today, being versatile and being able to adapt that, but also looking at your specific, what makes your hotel unique, and leveraging those things to capture more occupancy. And that's what Allison and her team does here at Travel Media Group. So thank you, Allison, for jumping on with me today. At this